A successful gardener is only as good as their tools. It pays to keep your tools clean and sharpened. So what is there involved in sharpening cutting tools? We're talking with Sacramento County Master Gardener Bill Black. And Bill, you're doing a little demonstration here at a workshop at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center showing people exactly how to sharpen and clean their tools. So let's just run through the basics as far as what do you need to sharpen tools?
Well, first thing you need is a cleaner of some sort. You can use soap and water, 409, whatever. And just to get the crud loosened up that's on the blades. A lot of times there will be just plain old dirt and sap that accumulates on there, and people get to where they can't really open and close the clippers because they're so crudded up. So we go ahead and spray them down with a cleaner of some sort. And then I take either a green scratch pad or, if it's really bad, a piece of steel wool to thoroughly clean the blades and any external parts that I can get to. Then I I'll go ahead and clean them very well and then rinse them, dry them. And then using a carbide steel sharpening tool available through Amazon and fine stores everywhere, to basically tune up the blade, realign the blade so it's, again, sharp. We're not cutting a new edge on there, but like I said, just realigning the existing edge.
I like this cutting tool, this sharpening tool that you're using from Corona, the solid carbide sharpening tool, as opposed to, say, a straight stone or a file, because it has a handle on it, and that gives you a little gauge on the best way to sharpen it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a very simple process that once you get it clean, then you kind of eye along the edge of the blade, and you will see there on normal clippers there's one blade that is sharp and the other is not sharp. The sharpened blade just bypasses the flat side of the other blade and causing it to cut. So what we're going to do is just realign the edge on that sharp blade. So we kind of have to eyeball it and lay the tool against the edge of the blade, following the bevel, and make sure that it's as close to that bevel as you can get. If you have it as too much of an angle, you're going to take the edge off the blade, not enough of an angle, and it will have no effect whatsoever.
The strokes you're making, it's a single stroke where you're starting near the handle and working up to the tip and just taking it along that beveled edge at exactly whatever that bevel angle is to just sharpen up that one side. You don't have to do that to the other side.
Well, you do the other side, but at a much shallower angle, because you want to go ahead and align both sides of that edge for it to be sharp. So you just simply place the edge of the sharpening tool against that bevel and draw it from the bottom of the blade to the tip about 4 or 5 times. You'll feel it get smoother as you do it. Then you turn the blade over and put the sharpening tool at almost flat against that blade and the edge, and draw it another 6 or 7 times along there, and you're done with that.
That's what I like about the handle, the red handle on this Corona sharpening tool, is it gives you that angle when you're attempting to clean or sharpen that back side of that bypass pruners.
Yes, just the back side. So you just follow that along there, and pretty much you're done, with the exception of drying everything off and then putting a light coat of some sort of lubricant, 409, or not 409, WD-40 or household oil are pretty much the things that I would use.
Right. And keeping it clean, too, like we've stressed on the podcast so many times, when you're done working with your tools for the day, clean them. And for cleaning tools, can you use steel wool every time? I use an old barbecue brush.
I just use a green scrubbing pad more often than not on mine, but I keep mine clean so they shouldn't be too much rust on them.
Now, you have some other tools here that you use, and one is just a plain old mill file.
Yeah. If I had a big ding in the blade, then I would go ahead and use that to try and work that out. In doing so, you are cutting away a lot of the blade. Mm-hmm. So unless it's a big ding, and a lot of times you'll get where somebody's tried to, say, for example, cut a stainless steel screw, and now you've got a big notch in there. Best thing to do there, buy a new blade.
And that goes back to buying your original equipment, your original pruners, especially bypass pruners, is make sure, and usually it'll be on the same wall where you're buying the pruners, is there are replacement parts there, like blades or springs or latches.
Right. You can probably, if not, go online.
Yeah, spend money once and then you'll have a tool forever if you take care of it.
Right.
And we should point out, too, we're talking about bypass pruners here, which, as you mentioned, the sharp blade bypasses the bottom blade, if you will. Whereas anvil pruners, the sharpened blade hits a plate. But, if you ask 10 gardeners what they do with anvil pruners, I think 9 out of 10 would say, I don't use them.
I don't use them, no. Even most of the loppers are just the larger bypass blades.
You want that. When you move up to loppers, which have long handles, and our pruners, you would choose a bypass over an anvil.
Right, correct.
And sometimes you do have to look for those because it seems like you say most of them are anvil.
No, most of them are bypass. The loppers are.
Depends where you shop.
Oh, yeah.
So, but if you're at a big box store, you'd see that the majority of them are anvil. So you want the bypass pruners, and again, you want the replaceable parts.
Yes.
So look for screws.
Yeah. Yeah, if they're just hard, no nuts and bolts in there, you're not going to be able to replace them.
All right. So there you go. If you buy pruners, spend some money, get some good quality ones. There's Corona, there's Felco. What other brands do you like?
Those are the two that I'm familiar with. So.
All right, Corona and Felco. Take care of them. They'll last you a lifetime. Bill Black is a Sacramento County Master Gardener here at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. Bill Black, thanks so much.
You're quite welcome.
Hello, free subscribers to the Beyond the Garden Basics newsletter and podcast. Say, if you enjoyed Bill Black's explanation of how to sharpen pruning tools, he has a video explaining the process, and you can find that link in today's newsletter. We have a lot more garden tool care tips for you in this podcast. But to hear it, you need to become a paid subscriber. Among the topics that Debbie Flower, America's favorite retired college horticultural professor, and myself talk about after the paywall in the podcast, the big difference between bypass and anvil pruners, how to clean garden tools, the very utilitarian garden tool that should be in every gardener's tool bucket, and the best fruit harvesting tool for citrus and apples, plus a lot more tips. Paid subscribers also get access to the complete library of newsletter editions, which now number close to 300, and paid subscribers also get the full corrected transcript of the podcast for those of you who can read faster than you can listen. Plus, your paid subscription lets me know I'm doing something here worthwhile that you find of value, even if it's only occasionally. The Beyond the Garden Basics podcast newsletter comes out twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. Some are for paid subscribers, some are for everybody. So I appreciate it if you'd become a paid subscriber. Just click on the subscribe link in the newsletter to keep the good research-based gardening information coming your way. And don't forget, when you do, you'll get the entire podcast and the complete newsletter, including the transcription. So thank you for listening and reading the Beyond the Garden Basics newsletter and podcast.